Good Monday evening. Don Palayo checking in again. It is Monday, May 19th, 2025. I was going to stay out this evening and DoorDash some, but it was very slow out there. I don't know if it's just because sometimes at the start of the week it's a little slower. End of the week it seems to get a little bit busier, but it was pretty dead out there. I ran one order and that was basically it. I'll probably go out Wednesday night. I was going to take a break on Wednesday night, but I'll work Wednesday since tonight was slow. Um, well, today was it's kind of funny. On Monday mornings we have a team meeting at my work, and my we're looking at our goals, and we're a little short a little bit on in some things, and we're trying to get where we need to be. And it's like they have a yeah, you look at the calendar year, but you also look at what we call an awards year. We kind of look at, and that ends the end of May as the awards year. It runs June through the end of May. And so we're looking at that and we have to get things submitted by tomorrow in order to hit some of this stuff. So we're pushing, trying to get things done, and then it's we'll see if it actually all happens. We just have to get things submitted in time, but we might be able to make it. We'll see. Goal setting is always kind of important, and I was thinking what we really need to do is kind of track our progress month by month, see our percentage, that end of the goal that we want to have. We just need to track it month by month, see where we are in terms of our progress. But I think we get so caught up in the day-to-day stuff that it just the time slips by, and I think I'm going to try to take a lead on that, trying to keep us on track of hitting our goals, because it does impact me. I get my bonuses are based on our team, our group hitting our goals, hitting the sales goals. So it's important that we hit those goals. That's how I get my bonuses. So you know gonna try to do my best to help us get there. We may you know we might get there, we may not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I am. It seems like here lately, everyone is coming at me for money. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if people think I'm rich or something. I'm not rich, people. I'm not. It's like I wish I was. But everybody, I think this is something that men get really tired of. Is that we a lot of times we get treated like we're ATM machines, like we're we just spit out cash, and we just always are having people coming at us for money. And it was like my 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 youngest daughter's mom had asked me a few weeks ago about paying for Piper's, my youngest daughter's Disney pass. She has an annual pass to Disney that she gets every year. Now that pass is not cheap. It's not cheap. Now they do get a Florida resident discount, so I just give them the money and they buy it because they live in Florida. But it's almost $1,000. I think it was 940 bucks or something like that. It's not something I could just whip out and say, here. Most of my cash I keep in investments. I do try to keep a little cash on hand, but I don't have just a ton of money, just a lot of cash to just give away like that. So anyway, I'm just like, I don't want to pull it out of my investments, So I'm like, so they do have an option of paying like $80 a month for a year. And even though I was really trying to get my cash flow, I'm trying to improve my cash flow situation, reducing my expenses. I may wind up doing that. I'm not sure yet. I'm still thinking about it. They don't charge interest. It's just you break up the annual pass number, and you divide it by 12. And that's what you pay over the course of a year. We'll see. I feel like, part of me feels like my child support should cover this. I pay a pretty healthy amount in child support, and I feel like that should kind of cover stuff like this. But we haven't reassessed my child support in several years, so since the divorce, really. So I try to be flexible. I'm trying to be flexible. I'm tired. It's just Monday and I'm already tired. It's ridiculous. Anyway, but yeah, I've had her. Everybody just is always hounding me for money, and it's like, people, look, I've got my own financial stuff going on over here. Y'all gonna have to just find somebody else to borrow from, or start saving more or something. Y'all gonna have to get your own financial lives together. Because now, sometimes my daughter will ask me to buy something, and I have a soft spot for my daughter, so if they need something, I'll do my best to try to get it for them. But even that, it's like, with my youngest daughter, she's just kind of starting to seem a little spendy. It's like she's always looking for something to buy, and I want to break her of that habit, because I told my daughters that the system wants you to spend your money. The system wants you out there spending every dime you have. The system loves that. It does two things for the system. One, it is circulating more back into the system. But two, the less that you keep for yourself, the longer you're going to have to work. And they want workers. They want people that have to work. And so if you don't save, and you're not investing, and you're not diligently putting money aside for, so that you can stop working one day, you're going to work the rest of your life. You're going to be 80 years old and in Walmart, being a greeter or something. It's like, I don't know. It's you have to start thinking about, do you want to work the rest of your life? If not, you better start putting money away and saving. We got to stop looking for things to buy. It's like, we stop spending money frivolously, and Americans are real bad about that. I've been bad about that in the past. I can't completely, I look back on my life, and it's like, there was a period there, I've gone through periods where money was more plentiful, and it seems like when money is plentiful, it's like, that's when I like to go out and spend. That's when I spend more. When money's kind of easy to come by, and it's like money's a little harder to come by, especially being a single person, trying to swing everything by yourself. It's not easy, especially when you have child support, when you have a mortgage, you've got a car payment, you've got all. I mean, it's a lot, I was thinking, for a little while, that I really wanted to maybe try to get back on the sales side of things, in terms of finance, in terms of my role, but it's like, right now is probably not the best time to do that. Right now, it seems like I just need to grind and really focus on, because I've got a decent job right now. I've got pretty decent job security. I actually probably do have a pretty good setup in terms of job security right now. So I feel pretty good about that, as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right, and continuing to improve and everything. I've been with my current company for, let's see, when did I start there? A little over 2 years. About 2 years and 3 months now. So I've been there for going on 2.5 years. And I've had to learn the systems and things like that. A lot of the stuff I've been familiar with, because I've worked in financial services for so long. But I would say if you're right now, if you're in a job where you feel like you have some job security, where you feel like you have a pretty good place to be, I would recommend you stay there. There's probably not too many people in that situation, but if you're in that situation, I would recommend you stay right now because I'm still feeling pretty leery about this economy. Um, yeah, there's just so many issues and structural issues with the economy, and these are things that have been happening going on for decades, and I think it's all starting to kind of form a pretty ugly picture, really. I think, and I'm really worried about what things are going to look like 10 years from now. I really think I don't know about a Great Depression type event. I'm not going to say that couldn't happen either. But I feel like I think we might be headed for something worse than 2008 was. 2008 was bad, but you know, and the things that led to 2008 have never really been fixed. They've just been bandaged up with money that was printed out of nothing. The Fed just did all their quantitative easing and pumped out a bunch of extra cash, and I don't think that's going to continue to work. That's the problem. Inflation is going to be a problem. I was listening to a podcast tonight. They were talking about how Trump is wanting to create a we used to store gold as a reserve for our country. We had a gold reserve. Well, Trump's talking about making a Bitcoin reserve, and putting money in Bitcoin. And I'm just like, some people were really into this crypto stuff. To me, it's like invisible money. It's invisible money, and it's like there's nothing tangible about it, and it's like I don't know. China, on the other hand, is buying up gold, and they're stacking gold. They've been stacking gold for a while. Not only gold, they've been buying other metals, rare earth metals. They've been buying a lot of physical hard assets. And China, I think, is pretty smart for doing that. And I think this whole Bitcoin thing is crazy, personally. We need to be stocking we need not just gold. I mean, I think gold is one asset we should be accumulating, but I think they should be putting aside several different metals. Lots of different metals. There's a lot of metals that are used in terms of war. We might like nickel and things like that we might need for war. I think they should be stacking that stuff. Copper, nickel, all of that. Anyway, I'm a little concerned when they start talking about creating a Bitcoin reserve. I think they're a little out to lunch. Trump, I've liked some of the things Trump does. Some of the things he does, I'm not real on board with. So I would say right now I'm feeling about 50-50 with him. It's like, and I expected a little bit more from Trump. I mean, he's working hard and he's trying to get some trade deals done. And the things that he has done well, I feel like he's doing pretty good with. The immigration situation, the trade deals, but it's just all this other stuff. It's like, in terms of going after our allies the way he has, I haven't liked that. Canada and Greenland and going after all these it's like, I want him focused solely on fixing things here at home. Bitcoin, leave that to the individual investors, leave that to the markets, but that's not something that the U.S. government should be holding in reserve. I'm sorry. I think they should be stocking up uh, agricultural commodities, war metals that they would need for wartime. I think they should be stocking oil. All of that is what we should be stocking. Forget about Bitcoin. Anyway, I don't know what our leadership is thinking these days. It's like, and our leadership, it's not just Trump, it's Congress. I'm so frustrated with them all. It's like, I just, I don't know what happens to people up there in Washington. It's like they get elected and they go up there and they just, I don't know. I don't feel like any of them are really trying to fix things here at home. It's like they get these big ideas and they want to try to get reelected, and it's just about themselves and their own ideas, their own power, and I don't know. Anyway, I'm not real happy with some of the things that have been going on in Washington lately. So I wasn't happy under Biden either, by the way. I didn't like much. In fact, I would say those 4 years were worse. But Trump sometimes just frustrates me because it seems like he gets distracted with things that this is not the reason we elected him. This is not at least this is not the reason I elected him. I did vote for Trump. I voted for Trump in last November. I just want him to get back on track, and sometimes he's just so volatile, Anyway, this evening I'm just going to kind of relax here at home. Hopefully it'll be a little busier out there tomorrow night, and I can get out there and make my money, because I've got to pay for everybody. I got to give everybody else my money. That's what it feels like. I got to give other people my money. Everybody else needs my money. It's like, it's so aggravating. Anyway, hopefully I'm thinking that in the summer, probably July, I'll have a one-on-one with my boss, and hopefully I can get at least a cost of living adjustment on my pay. I got a raise last summer, and he gave me a pretty significant one last summer, like 6 or 7%, which was pretty good. Actually more than 6%. Yeah, it's probably more like 7 or 8%. Yeah, it's about 8%, roughly. Between maybe about 7.5%. So that was a pretty good raise. I'm not expecting to get a raise that big this time, just because our numbers haven't been as good this year, and I think the economy is getting a little tight. The costs are kind of pinching, so I'm just hoping to get like a 3 or 4% bump, which would help me. Just a cost of living adjustment. Put a few $100 extra in my pocket every month. We'll see what happens. So cover the cost of my daughter's Disney pass. Anyway, I don't mind buying it just because I know my daughter loves going, and she lives 2 hours from Disney down in Florida, and they go several times a year. I went with them in February, so it doesn't bother me. But anyway, all right, guys, I am going to check out now. This is Don Pelayo signing off. Tell me if you liked the sword, by the way. Do you like? I'm up here in my upstairs room. This is where I kind of come up here. I got my laptop up here. I got my books. I've got my collectibles. I like to chill in this room, but yesterday I filmed my video downstairs in my living room with the sword behind me and all of that. Let me know what you think. I don't know if it really matters, but anyway, you guys have a great evening. I will be talking at you again soon.